Hello, good evening. Welcome to the wonderful world of the Guns and Yellow Ribbons preview podcast. Tonight I'm joined by my good old friend Fergus and my good young friend Alex. We're obviously going to talk about all the weekend's Premier League fixtures. Then we're going to talk about a second trip to the Northwest in 2 weeks for the mighty Arsenal. Can we win at Liverpool? Of course we can. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. This is your Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, Trevor. Whilst you are factually correct that I am your older friend and Alex is your younger friend, you may have wanted to word it just slightly more diplomatically.
Why? It's obviously
Why not?
It served its purpose. You've bitten. Alex is laughing. That'll do nicely. That'll do very nicely. Excuse me. For some reason, the series started on my phone in my left ear, and it's saying to me, "What can I do for you? What can I do for you?" Well, listen. What a great weekend we had again last week, eh? Wonderful day at the Emirates for the first game of the season. It couldn't have gone any better, could it, Ferg?
Well, before we even go on about that, okay, I need to say a very, very special happy birthday to the ever-suffering Mrs. Hilsey. Donna, I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope he's treated you well.
Oh, you sneaked
on
in
his birthday.
first. He sneaked in first, right? And you're out of all the fucks. I've got it lined up here.
Snooze, you lose.
Birthday, and now you've ruined it. I had a lovely little verse lined up for her to make her smile.
You can use that as well.
I'm not going there now. You can shove it up your backside. All I'm going to say is happy birthday, Don. She's let me do the podcast tonight. I was quite prepared not to do the podcast, but she insisted that I did. We've got the couple of grandchildren downstairs, so she's very happy. Yeah, so thank you, Ferg. I'll keep that one in here. I'm ready. Alex, how are you, mate? Did you enjoy your trip to the Emirates last week, mate?
I did. As you said, couldn't have gone any better apart from the small couple of injuries we had. Luckily, it wasn't as bad, but as the game went, couldn't have gone any better. Gyökeres off the mark, a couple of set pieces more, and top of the league.
See, I'm not quite sure you're being honest with me there, Alex. I'm not quite sure you're being honest because you were that drunk. I can't see that you can remember much about it.
I've watched it back.
You were I was listening to a slurring with a Danish accent. It was quite funny, really. It was quite funny. It did make
you know how the righteous are, isn't it? What do you think, Alex? He's very righteous now because he's not drinking for a few weeks to get a bit slimmer and stuff like that, which he's doing very well at. He's being very judgmental. They're the sort of, it's like an ex-smoker going, oh, can't stand this. That's what he's like. Dreadful.
You're bang out of all of both of you, because if I was being judgmental about my weight loss, I'll be calling you both fat. Right, you know what I mean?
Well, you can't call him fat. You can't call him fat. Factually, you might be right with me, but not with Alex.
Yeah, but I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I've got a bit more to lose yet, but I'm getting there slowly. And then I'll be back having a few red wines. So I'm looking forward to it very, very much indeed. Let's not talk any more about the Arsenal game, because we can just a little bit later, we can just go over last weekend a little bit, and then we can talk about our game back in the Northwest on Sunday. But the first one up for me, no Friday night game this week, boys. Do you know what? As long as it's not us playing, I don't mind Friday night game. You know,
another Friday night game.
I'm quite surprised that. What have we got here? Let me have a look here. Let me have a look for someone that's. Where are we? Palace Villa. I'm surprised Sky TV, with their lack of respect for fans, haven't made Palace go up to Villa on a Friday night, to be honest, or even Brentford up to Sunderland. That's what we're used to, isn't it? So maybe they are changing their ways a bit. Who knows? But boys, listen, right? First one up. Chelsea v Fulham. Second-rate London derby. We've got to say it's a London derby because it is a London derby. I know they're not the best two teams in London, far from it. but it should be it's the early kickoff tomorrow, I believe. The early kickoff tomorrow. Chelsea, Fulham. I'd love to see Fulham get something at Chelsea. I'd love to see it, but I've got my doubts, Ferg.
Well, Fulham have failed to keep clean sheet away from home in the last 9 Premier League games. So, I'm expecting them to concede. They did win this game in Boxing Day in last year at Stamford Bridge. It was a bit of a shock. Chelsea, on the other hand, haven't. They've failed to lose 2 more home games in the Premier League campaign since 1986. Those stats haven't come up right. I've had to Google all this very late. Honestly, it was really poor. Fundamentally, I don't think that Fulham have done enough in the transfer window to have enough of a threat against Chelsea. Chelsea have just, I believe, are about to sign Garnacho. Why? I don't know. But I think Chelsea are just going to be too good for them at home at the Bridge. I'm going a good game for an early kickoff, 2-0 to Chelsea.
2-0 to Chelsea. See, I can see that happening, but I've also Fulham are no pushos, are they, Alex?
No, I think it will be a tight game, and I think we saw in the first game Chelsea struggled to create anything. Then they played West Ham, and they came out firing without Cole Palmer, and he'll be out for the weekend as well.
Is he? Oh, right.
He's out for the weekend as well. But I mean, they did well without him. That guy, João Pedro up front, he's a very good acquisition. I think he'll come well for them. Delap didn't score in the last game, but I think he'll be a good signing for them as well. I do fancy a Smith Rowe goal, so I've gone for 2-1 for Chelsea, but I think it'll be a tight game.
So you've gone Chelsea as well, Alex, yeah. So both Chelsea, to be honest with you, boys, I'm with you. I don't want to go for Chelsea, but looking at this game, I think they might just nick it, 1-0. I've gone 1-0 to Chelsea. Although Fulham, I like a home team because Chelsea's ground is actually in Fulham, isn't it?
It was Gary Nacho. I didn't say Gary Nacho. I said Garnacho or whatever his name is. You've got to know me by now. My accent is like as messed up as it. Just get onto your treadmill and carry on.
Third, while we're on it, I read that today, right, that Chelsea have gone in for Garnacho, right? Now, let's be honest, right? Nothing against the kid personally, but he ain't done it at all. He looked awful at Man United. He's just not been anywhere near the level, has he? So I don't know. Let's ask Alex. Alex, what did Chelsea see in Garnacho that makes him worth 40 million?
I mean, what baffles me even more is that they're signing Buonanotte from Brighton on a straight loan. So they've signed him and Garnacho, and I'm not sure why of them. I mean, they were in for Xavi Simons, who obviously ended up at Tottenham now. I mean, if I was Chelsea, I would have much rather had him instead of Garnacho. I don't think. I mean, he's had his moments at United, but as you say, £40 million. I think that's a bit steep for a player with no consistent end product.
Yeah. Ferg, just before you pick up from Alex, I just need to have a very strict 5-second silence, please, in respect of the end of Xavi Simons' career going to Tottenham. That's the end of his career normally, isn't it? So we'll pay our bit for that. And Ferg...
You can go back to washing Madueke's boots.
Oh my word! So listen, we've all gone for Chelsea. Why do you think Chelsea would go in for Garnacho, Ferg? Stop laughing.
Honestly, that wasn't me laughing. That's a button, by the way. I don't know is the truth of it. He just looked as a very disruptive character at Man United. He was a red card waiting to happen every game. He just doesn't look like he suits the Premier League. I think he probably suits Italian league or something like that. But he just doesn't. I can't fathom it at all, Trevor. I really don't understand why.
He'll probably land at Chelsea, boys, and fly. You know what I mean? And then that really makes Man United look bad, doesn't it? That shows us what a mess Man United are in. Anyway, we talked too long about that. We don't really care, do we? The next game, right? Man United. Don't laugh. Man United, right? that team that their manager says can beat any Premier League team, but couldn't beat a League Two team, right? V Burnley at Old Trafford. Listen, Ferg, Burnley have got big favourites all day long, haven't they? Come on.
Sorry, no. Listen, I was even considering having fish and chips tonight. A nice big battered cod from Grimsby, because that's what happens. Anything goes Grimsby gets battered. Burnley though, Burnley gone to Old Trafford. Look, Burnley aren't great. They'll do okay. The last time they met was 2024. It was a 1-1 draw. I think Amorim has totally lost the plot. He's coming out and saying stuff like he sometimes likes his teammates, sometimes or his players, sometimes doesn't want to be with them. He sometimes loves the job, hates the job. I think he's wearing his heart too much on his sleeve. And personally, I think after the aftermath of the Grimsby game and the debacle that was a shootout, the penalty shootout 12-11, which I'll go on to in a second as well. I just think that the atmosphere in Old Trafford is going to be so flat. So any home advantage that you have, I just think it's going to be flat. Everyone's going to be talking about, is he going to get sacked? Is he going to walk? I talked to my brother tonight and he went, yeah, he should walk. And I go, why would he walk? He should wait for the millions that he gets when he gets sacked. And that might be the case. He said stuff like he's going to wait till the international break, which is an indication that he might leave. I think it's going to be a difficult game. I think their keeper, if they play Onana in goal again, or even if the other keeper who they played, was it last week or in the first game? I don't know what his name is. He was absolutely dreadful as well. I think they concede a goal, so Burnley score one. I can't see Man United doing very much, but I can't see them losing. So I've gone for a 1-1 draw. On the penalty shootout, Sesko, why would your £73 million signing be the 10th option that you'd have as a penalty taker? He'd be number 1, 4, or 5, wouldn't you say, Trev?
That was one of the strangest things I've ever seen. I mean, Amorim didn't know what penalties Sesko were taking because Amorim didn't watch the penalties. He was sat on his lap with a puzzle on his lap doing his Panini sticker book or something, wasn't he? But yeah, that was very strange, Ferg. That was very, very strange indeed. Yeah. So look, right. Burnley had a decent win last week, right? They turned Sunderland over, who had a decent win before that. So Burnley had got to be in it, right? I'll go next, Alex. I've gone with Ferg, right? I've gone for a 1-1 draw. And I think that's paying Man United maybe too much respect because I honestly think that Burnley may well go there and turn them over. Just before I come to you, Alex, to see if you disagree with Ferg and myself, Mark Goldbridge, right? He's a Marmite man, isn't he? And you love him or hate him. But a quote from him, right, during the game the other night against Grimsby, when Onana punched the first penalty into his net, I think, Goldbridge said, dig up my dead dog and put it in goal. It moves better than him. My lordy. Oh,
Ronnie, I think you lost.
No, leave him alone. Ronnie,
it's all right. It's Premier League. Don't worry. You'll have to wait till we do his game at least. Welcome, Ronnie.
Alex.
Yes.
Draw for me. Draw for Ferg. Who's going to win it, Alex?
I've gone slightly more optimistic for the home team. I don't know if I've maybe been a bit too optimistic, but I've gone 3-1 for Man U. I feel like it's one of those games where either it sort of clicks and they make it work with Mbeumo will score and Cunha will get going, or else they're going to lose and he's going to get sacked. It feels like one of those games where everything's on the line. Like it's one or the other. I mean, it could be a draw, and that I'm not sure what will happen if it will be a draw. But it feels like if he loses, I think he's gone. Well, I can't see him staying.
Alex, let me just come back to you on that, mate. Let me come back to it because is it my old mind? It plays tricks, so I may well be wrong. But didn't they keep Ten Hag for the start of the season last season, and we were all thinking, if he's that bad, why didn't they sack him before the season? And then about this stage of the season, or maybe a few more games in, they got rid of him, didn't they? I've still not worked that out. It looks like they may well do it again, Alex.
But I mean, it's a tricky one because they've just spent loads, haven't they, and backed him, the manager. So, I mean, obviously, if you're the board, you want to give him a bit more time for the signings to settle in, Sesko to settle in. But I mean, it's Manchester United, and they shouldn't. I mean, they shouldn't afford to give a manager that kind of time when they're losing to Grimsby and if they lose to Burnley as well. But I mean, it's going to be a great match. I'm going to be watching that game.
Yeah, it will be a good game. Fergus, you know what? That again in the penalties against Grimsby, as you just said, Sesko didn't take one for some reason. Strange. And
He did eventually.
The two penalties they missed were Mbuemo and Cunha. That's their fresh signings. So it's not looking great, Ferg, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. And Cunha missed it like, it was a glorious miss. It was absolutely dreadful. Just going back to Ronnie. Ronnie's getting a lot of banter in there, but he's right. It's a preview shows, and they're always a good watch. So enjoy the show, mate. We will. It has got an Arsenal bias, so just be mindful of that, Ronnie. Yeah. Be mindful.
Yeah, welcome, Ronnie. Welcome, Ronnie. We'll talk about Tottenham in a bit. We'll have to, I suppose. Right, lads. So that's a draw for me and Ferg, and our Alex is gone for Manchester United for a home win. Now the next Sunderland v Brentford, right? I thought I think we all said, didn't we? Brentford might struggle this season. They've lost a lot of good players. But it was a home win, but they beat a good Villa side last week, 1-0 at home. I didn't see that one coming. Completely ruined my ACCA, right? Sunderland got beat last week at Burnley, but they're back at home this week. And I still say that home stadium is a massive help to them, especially with us poor away fans being kicked up into the gods. You should be ashamed of yourself for that, Sunderland. You could do better in that new stadium, Sunderland. You could do better than that. You have done better than that in the past. So you need to look at that. But Sunderland v Brentford, right? Ferg, are the Northern boys going to win, or can Brentford get something out of it?
No, you know what? I think you hit the nail on the head about Brentford. Like Brentford, I think they lost their opening game of the season, but then they've beaten Villa, which I would count as a good team currently, 1-0 at home. And they beat Bournemouth as well, 2-0, who, again, Bournemouth haven't been as bad as we thought, even though they sold players and everything else, in the EFL Cup midweek. Sunderland, they beat West Ham 3-0, and they're on a high. Their first home game at Stadium of Light, and the noise was absolutely unreal. But then they lost, I think it was 2-0 away to Burnley, which is on their level, is what you'd expect. I'm going with Ronnie. I'm going 2-1. 2-1 to Brentford. That's what I put down here. Honestly, I'd written that down beforehand, Ronnie. I swear it. I'm not going. I'm not taking sides with the dark side.
Taking tips from a Tottenham fan. How will he ever live it down, right? So anyway, Tottenham fan Fergus has gone for Brentford. Alex, are Brentford going to win at Sunderland?
I mean, I wasn't expecting to come on here and sat here agreeing with a Tottenham fan, but I've also gone for a 2-1 for Brentford. I think Dango Utara from Bournemouth is a spectacular signing for them. He's exactly the kind of reinforcement they needed after selling Mbuemo, and likely Wiss is going to go as well. He hasn't played in the opening game, so I think they'll get in another top attacking player before the window ends. But I mean, slightly biased towards Brentford. They've had a lot of Danes over the past couple of years, so soft spot for Brentford. I've gone for a win, even though, I mean, Sunderland away is a tricky game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, I disagree with both of you boys. I've gone for a 2-0 win to Sunderland. I think that home advantage, home form, the little form we've seen so far, I know, but Sunderland have won at home. I just think Sunderland are going to be better on the day than Brentford, and Sunderland will win 2-0. By the way, we've got some new viewers in again. Thank you very much for joining us, right? Truly humbled by the amount of people we get watching us every week. I really am. But remember that take our predictions with a pinch of salt because we are basically not very good at this predicting game. Yeah, we're here to just talk about the games and have a bit of a laugh. Yeah. And maybe one week we'll all get a big hacker in, who knows, eh? And then we'll all celebrate with a few Guinnesses, a few fine Guinnesses at the Arsenal, at the bar in the Arsenal, eh, Ferg? We'll have a
not that stuff.
Oh,
I'll stick to N5, but
Coke.
I'm not buying that Guinness in that stadium. That was awful. What
right.
we got next, Trev?
Next, yeah, we've got that lot down the road, right? Tottenham v
Middlesex.
Bournemouth.
This is where the Arsenal bias slightly kicks in.
Yeah,
sorry, Ron.
Yeah, sorry, Ron. Listen, right?
Not sorry.
Tottenham are second in the league, behind the best team in the league, so that's fair enough. Ronnie's obviously gone for Tottenham 4, Bournemouth 0. That's fully understandable. A bit deluded, but understandable, if I'm honest. Bournemouth can come up with these results, can't they? They really can come up with a result. And as you said, they've signed that player this week. Oh, no, he went the other way, didn't he, Alex? Anyway, that don't matter. I'm just going to go first, yeah. And a surprise, right? Surprise. I've gone for a Bournemouth win here, right? I've gone for Bournemouth to win at Tottenham, halt Tottenham's great start to the season, and lift themselves nicely up the table, Bournemouth. So I'm going Bournemouth. Alex, I'm going to leave Ferg till last because I like Ferg talking about this game. Alex,
I've
can Bournemouth lose?
Well. Sorry?
Can Bournemouth lose, Alex?
No, I don't see them losing. I can't see Bournemouth losing. I mean, they've had a good start, Tottenham, haven't they? With Thomas Frank coming in and Kudus doing well, new signing. Richarlison suddenly playing well again. You are a different side, but that's what you said when Ange came in, didn't you? When Ange came in last season.
It's who we are, mate.
It's who we are. But I do think Bournemouth will nick a result. I've gone for 1-0 for Bournemouth. Semenyo getting the winner.
Alex has
He's
gone
a good
for
player.
Bournemouth. Right? Alex has gone for Bournemouth. Listen, right, all you people
we need to pull Seth up, by the way.
Oh,
yeah, that's horrible.
Where's
Seth,
my
red card.
I
might even ban him.
Hang on, here. Red card. You're done
you go.
for. You're gone.
Don't pull us down. It's common.
Listen, you people that are joining us for the first time, we do this with a little light-heartedly. That we can't back Tottenham to win a game because then when we all meet up, whoever's backed Tottenham to win a game has to buy all the beers, right? So we can't do it. But so Ferg, how many of Tottenham are going to lose by, son?
A couple. Listen, as sure as death or taxes, except for when we need them to do it, Tottenham will always beat Manchester City. And they've done it last weekend. And as a bit of a shock, they've done 2-0. Well done. Yeah, you've done well. And it might do us a favour in the long run. We're not depending on you to do it at the end of the season when we're up for titles, something that you haven't been up for absolutely years. And the 1 year that you were in 2016, you got beaten by Leicester and Arsenal in a 2-horse race. So we'll just leave that there, Ronnie, shall we? Bournemouth did get 4 points from a possible 6 last season against Tottenham. They were 2-0 up at the Tottenham Stadium, but squandered that lead with a late penalty to Son. Son's not there anymore. Richarlison, he's probably going to get a red card. I've gone for Bournemouth 3. Semenyo as well to get a hat-trick. Tottenham, they'll get 1 goal. 3-1 to Bournemouth.
You've been very descriptive, Ferg, now, right? If Bournemouth do win 3-1 and Semenyo does get a hat-trick, you're going to be devastated that you haven't had 50 pence on that prediction.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to be absolutely devastated. Right, look, we're going to keep it moving because I want to get it done within the hour and we've still got a few to go. And obviously we're going to talk about the greatest team in the world at the end of this predictions. So it's Wolves v Everton now, right? Wolves v Everton. Wolves got beat last week by Bournemouth, who we've just been talking about, but only 1-0 at Bournemouth. They weren't embarrassed. And then we've got Everton, who beat Brighton 2-0. Now, I was quite surprised that Everton beat Brighton. I thought that Brighton might get something up there, but then, of course, you got the new stadium, the first game there. By all accounts, the fans were one of the loudest crowds that has ever been heard in a football stadium. So, yeah, maybe that's what drove Everton to victory, but I have got a safe spot for it, a soft spot for Everton. I don't mind Brighton. Alex, do Everton get another home win, son?
It's an away game, isn't it?
Oh, sorry.
They're away, aren't they?
Do Everton get an away win? Sorry, yeah, my fault. I take it all back.
I mean, I really like the acquisitions of Grealish and Tyler Dibling as well. He's an exciting young player, but if they were at home, I'd have gone for a home win for Everton, but away, I've gone for a draw. I think Wolves look good midweek, came back and beat West Ham. Apparently, they're going to be without Strand Larsen, their striker who came on and scored 2 goals. He's injured. So that's going to be a tricky one for them. But yeah, I've gone for a 0-0 draw. And I think both teams will be kind of happy with it.
So Alex has gone for the draw.
I don't think either team would be happy with a draw, though, Alex, because Wolves are desperate to get off the mark. They haven't had a win yet. They lost 4-0, of course, to City on the opening game of the season. They weren't too bad, and City weren't as good as the scoreline depicted. But then they lost 1-0 to Bournemouth as well. They did go down to 10 men, which didn't help the situation. But I do think that Everton, with the acquisitions they have, the new stadium they've got, they would look at Wolves and go, I think we're better than them. As you said, Dibling, Jack Grealish had a huge influence on that first game at the new stadium. He was 2 assists. They were unlucky, Everton, with a very poor decision, in my opinion, for the penalty against Leeds. So they should be on 4 points, not 3. I think they'd be upset with a point away at Wolves. And I think Wolves would accept a draw because they'd accept a point. Yes. So on that point, maybe. I've gone 1-1, by the way. I've gone 1-1 after all that.
So you called Alex out for a draw.
Yeah. So, and then you've got to draw yourself. Go on, Ferg.
For 15 minutes without drawing breath. Didn't pass out through lack of oxygen, then went for a draw. Come on.
I just think the pressure is going to be on Wolves hugely. I do think that Everton will score, and I do think Everton are good enough to win the game. But I think if Wolves keep it tight, they may keep it to a 1-1.
Well, do you know what, Ferg? In fairness, it's all 3 of us. I've gone for a draw as well. All 3 of us have gone for a draw. I think it's too early in the season to talk about teams being under too much pressure. Apart from, I hate to say it, apart from West Ham, who were looking really poor. I mean, they look. Oh yeah, man, that goes without saying.
Yeah,
but
that doesn't matter though.
But yeah, I worry for West Ham already. But Wolves, Everton draws all round. Then draws all round, boys. Better put that down as a score draw on the pause coupon then. So the next one then, right? Leeds and Newcastle. We all know what happened to Leeds last week. They got totally outplayed at the Arsenal. Although for the first 10 or 15 minutes of the game, they were in it. And then, Raya made that save and it was all one-way traffic. After that, we'll talk about that, obviously, in a bit, right? Where are we? Newcastle lost at home to Liverpool on Monday night. I thought they were a bit unlucky. I mean, I thought it was a sending off all day long. It should be, what's his name? That lad that got sent off. What's his name? Gordon. He should be sent off for wearing that headband, let alone sent off for a bad tackle. You know what I mean? He really should. There's headband. I don't mind players wearing headbands, but I think that's a bit over the top. That is, you know what I mean? That's a bit over the top. So, yeah. I thought that Newcastle could have got a draw with 10 men, and that says quite a bit about Liverpool. It really does. But then Leeds got a lucky win at home and got battered at our place. I can't see Leeds getting anything out of this. Can you, Ferg?
No, I can't. I think for exactly as we said earlier, and what you said there beforehand, that they were lucky with that penalty, and they offered really nothing in the game. I didn't watch all of the game. I watched some highlights. Yes, for 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of the game, we didn't really get into it at our place last weekend. But as soon as we scored, they capitulated. They weren't great. They had no real shape and everything else. They look like a team that will probably they'll be there or thereabouts, but it probably will go down. They might fight some of the poorer teams like West Ham and Man United currently, maybe Wolves, and as we thought, maybe Brentford. But I don't know. I think Brentford probably have got above that. Newcastle, even though they're without Gordon, who I think is the creator of everything for them. I don't know if Tonali's fit and available, but I've gone for Leeds 1, Newcastle 2.
So you've gone for a Newcastle win. I've gone for a Newcastle win as well, Alex. Are we all agreeing again, mate, Alex?
Yeah, we are. I
looks like
think Newcastle, they've actually done pretty well in their first 2 games. They've created a lot of chances. The problem is they haven't had anyone to finish them. Now they've got a big effing German in their team. Voltemade, they've bought in from Stuttgart for a lot of money for a young player who's not really proven himself too much, but he looks exciting. And he's a big guy. And I think he'll do well. The way he plays, he reminds a little bit about Isak. Obviously not the same quality and everything like that, but I can see him doing well, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just gets chucked straight in because they really need a striker at the moment with Gordon out as well. So yeah, I've gone for a 2-1 win for Newcastle. I think Leeds, they look quite shocking defensively at our place. So I think there'll be chances. It's just whether Newcastle can take them or not.
Yeah. I mean, as you boys know, we gave a couple of Leeds fans a lift up to the Emirates last weekend, a couple of good friends of mine. And to be honest with you, you take Leeds fans with a pinch of salt because we all know what they're like. They won't stop shouting if their team's 10-0 down. But they were insistent that they thought their team was going to stay up this season. Insistent. They said they'll win enough games. I don't really agree with them. And we've all gone for Newcastle to get the win there.
I think with the end of the Isak saga, that might help.
He's going to Liverpool,
Newcastle,
though, surely.
Yeah, I think it probably is. But they've lost Callum Wilson as well, so they've only got one striker replaced in
they need another one.
German guy. Yeah, but you know what? The silly money is they've paid £80 million for this player, and when you go into Transfermarkt, he's valued at 30 million euros. So it's 25, 27 million. So they've paid double, nearly triple what he's worth. It's just ridiculous.
I think he scored 12 goals last season in the Bundesliga, and then he had a pretty decent run at the under-21s Euro at the summer, which sort of made Bayern come in for him. And I think they had 3 bids rejected, and then suddenly, whoosh, Newcastle came in and 80 million. Crazy.
Listening to some of the pundits on it, no, we'll move on to the next game, Trev, but listen to some of the pundits talking about him and his style. He's not an out-and-out lone, like a replacement for Isak. Yes, he's tall and people think he's that sort of player, but he normally plays in the 2 up top. And if Newcastle only have him as the main striker and they've got no Callum Wilson, well, he might be like a blunted pencil. That's my fear. I would not be letting Isak go on. I wouldn't be letting Isak go until you get another player in, but I think the guy is just not going to play for them.
Do you know what, boys? It's interesting. Before we move on to Brighton, Man City, right? You sort of raised an interesting point there. I was thinking about it today, right? And this transfer window, I mean, obviously, Arsenal have had an absolute blinder in my view. But it just seems in general, average players or slightly better than average players are fetching massive prices, bigger money than they have ever sold for. It just seems that there's a lot more players that I look at and I think, oh my God, you're all right, you do us a turn, but they're going for like 30, 40, 50 million pounds, and I'm thinking, has it gone bloody mad? Is it me, Alex?
It has.
Except our players. I want our players to get sold for that kind of money as well. I mean, I thought personally Kivior would have been worth a bit more than what eventually he's going to go for to Porto, but
yeah,
I'm not sure why we can't make these kind of sales we've seen Chelsea and Liverpool and those kind of clubs do. I think it probably takes a couple of years to sort of turn it and become a selling club like do it as well as Liverpool and Chelsea have done. I would have wanted more for Kivior, but I mean the replacement we're getting in, apparently he looks very good.
But overall for Kivior is going to be 30 million by the end of next year. So and also his wages were considerable as well. So you're getting the wages off the book as well. 30 million for a guy we paid 20 million for a few years back isn't bad. Go on, Trev.
I heard it was 25 million plus free.
It's 25 plus add-ons, and then there's a loan fee of 4 million.
What's a couple of million in the football world nowadays? It's small change to football clubs, isn't it? But do you know what? Ferg, Alex has got a really good point, right? Because I stood Kivior's corner last season when a lot of people didn't, right? When he had to come in, right? And I give myself pride with that. I really do.
You really did,
right?
Yeah.
And when he came in, I thought Kivior was absolutely superb. When you think of who he's replacing, right? He's replacing one of the best centre halves in the world. And Kivior's come in and just held his own and fitted in perfectly and really played to the highest of levels. So firstly, I'm quite sad that Kivior's gone. I really genuinely am. But secondly, Ferg, is that a fair price? 25 million, mate?
Sorry, what's that, mate? Something else has played in my ears.
Ferg, listen. Ferg, you've got to stop having them rogue TV shows on your other screen. I'm banned now. You have to put your age identification in to see them now. So just be careful. You don't get trapped.
Somebody sent me through a WhatsApp video of, which I thought was Saka saying something, and it was some random thing. Right. So sorry, you asked me a question.
If you care, you are live. Sorry, people
back in the room.
Talking to people who are kindly tuning in to listen to us
on a Friday night.
Just ignoring us all. You're just ignoring us all, Ferg. What do you expect people to think? Hey, come on, you need to. Ferg, up your game a bit now, right? Up your game a bit, right? Play ball now. Now, listen carefully, Ferg. I'll only say this once again, right? We were talking about Kivior. I was saying I was really proud that I stood his corner last season. I thought he came in and fitted in brilliantly. We didn't see a drop off in our back four. When you think of who he was replacing, played brilliantly. And I just think that he was worth more than 25 million, Ferg, if we sold him, to be honest.
Yeah, I just think the issue with our players is probably the wages and the bonuses and the structures of our wages, and that's making it difficult to prize the players away from the club. You'll have players who are happy to stay there. I'm not casting any dispersions any players who've been there, but and who are currently there. But there's many a player who would go, well. You look at Chelsea, where you got Mudryk. He's on 7 or 8 year contract. He's on 200 grand, 300 grand a week. He's not getting game time. If he's fed up, he might as well just stay there and take the 300 grand. And I'm not, but to try and move him on as an example, is going to be very, very difficult. Nobody's going to buy him because either.
I don't think Kivior is one of those players on high wages.
I think it's the structure of how our wages are done and so on. So I don't know. I think
seemingly he's Kivior's around 50-60k a week. So Zinchenko, he's a prime example of what you're talking about, because he's really tricky to move on because he's on massive wages. But hopefully we do manage to move him on. I wouldn't care about the fee because, as you said, like his wages are massive. So just getting him off our books would be good.
Yeah, but you get what I mean. I think it's overall moving people on. The reason why we're taking less fees is the structure of the contracts that were in place beforehand. It seems like Berta and Garlic together are working a lot more aggressively in the marketplace, and you can just look at this summer how we've done well in comparison to the Barbecue King, who's destroying forests. But yeah,
we still haven't sold anyone yet though, apart from Kivior.
Right.
Isn't Vieira going soon as well? But
wait a minute.
Hopefully.
Wait a minute now. You're drifting, boys. According to a couple of the comments, Mudryk is banned. So yeah. I didn't know that. But anyway, I don't think he's very good. Boys, let's move on. We'll come back to the Arsenal, right? We will come back to the mighty, mighty Arsenal. Brighton v Manchester City, right? Brighton got beat at Everton last week, right? Man City were absolutely abysmal at home to that lot up the road. I mean, I couldn't believe how badly they played at home this early in the season, right? So Brighton, Man City, Who's going to win it, Ferg?
Sadly, I think it's probably going to be City. Both teams lost 2-0 at home last weekend, but I think City are just going to be that bit better than Brighton. They've what is it, 5 games on the road in the Premier League they've avoided defeat. They kept clean sheets, the longest number of clean sheets. Don't know if they'll keep a clean sheet at the Amex, because I do rate Brighton. I think they're a decent outfit. I think they're a well-organised club. I've gone for Brighton 1, City 3.
You've gone for Man City, Ferg. That's interesting. See, I don't know. I can't see Man City getting 3 goals at Brighton. Brighton ain't a bad side, and if City play like last week, they're going to struggle to score 1, let alone 3, aren't they, Alex?
I mean, yeah, if they play like last week, it just didn't click for them last week, and it happens every time they'll lose at home to Spurs. But I think they'll bounce back. I think Haaland will score a couple of goals. I've gone 2-1. Close game. I can see it being a close game. Brighton are good at home. But I mean, sometimes Brighton, they get punished for the way they play, and I can see City doing that. They're not as structured as Tottenham were last week. I can see them giving a bit more space, leaving a bit more space with the way they play. And yeah, they'll eventually they'll have to score with Haaland. I've gone for 2-1.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I to be honest with you, boys, I disagree with both of you. I've gone for a draw. Right, I'm just looking at the way Man City performed last week. It's becoming clearly apparent, though, that when Haaland isn't allowed to bully a game, he's not very good, is he? I'm not saying he's bad, but he's not top striker. When he comes up against a defender that's going to play against him properly, like the Spurs defenders did last week, Haaland struggles with a plan B, and so I've gone for a draw. But if you forced me, honestly, boys, if you forced me to say one of the two was going to win, I would have gone for Brighton. I would. Just on the way, man.
It's a really hard one to call, isn't it, Trev? Because Brighton are decent. They're a decent outfit, but you just know City are City, and they've got all those marquee players and everything else. But I don't know. Has Pep been found out a little bit?
They're difficult to predict at the moment. City, they're a bit wobbly.
Yeah, well, we don't want them to go on a bad run again, do we, City? Because Pep was actually self-harming last year, wasn't he? I mean,
scratches all over.
We can laugh at that. I laugh at it, but it can be sort of a serious comment, can't it? He was actually self-harming. He was that stressed.
Crazy.
And he's managing a team that he's never had to struggle to buy people for before. He just buys who he wants, and he won 4 or 5 league titles in a row, and yet a little bit of a bad run, and he's self-harming. I was a bit scary, that, Pep. You need to wind it in a bit, Pep, and chill a bit, mate. I don't want to see you injuring yourself.
Good advice from Hilsey himself.
Yeah, you don't be doing all that rubbish. Look, moving on then, right? Forest v West Ham, right? West Ham got absolutely battered by Chelsea last week, right? Absolutely battered. Forest, I thought, got a really good draw at a good Palace side, right? Palace are a good side, and Forest went there and took a point away, which I thought wasn't what it could even have been performance of the weekend after the mighty Arsenal, of course. So it's Forest at home to West Ham. West Ham, like, wow, I haven't got words, Ferg. I haven't got words, mate.
Now, you know what is around where I live? It's West Ham and Spurs and Arsenal, and I was chatting to some of the West Ham and even Tottenham fans and Arsenal fans, but I was talking to some West Ham fans, and they honestly feel after 2 games, it's almost written in the stars, they get relegated. They don't understand what's happening at the club. They don't understand what's going on. There's talk of Bowen, some stuff I've heard on Bowen. He's had a row with some fans after the game, which happens. And, I don't know what the fans have said to him, but he's going to write a reply. But it doesn't look a very happy camp On the opposite side, Forest are unbeaten in their opening 2 match days. And West Ham are at the lowest of the lowest ever. I haven't seen them this bad for a long, long time. But Forest have failed to keep a clean sheet in the last 10 top-flight matches. So I feel West Ham will score. But if Forest score, I think West Ham's heads will drop, and they're there for the taking. You saw it at Sunderland, 3-0. You saw it when they went 1. They brought it back to 2-1 against Chelsea. Went 2-2, was disallowed for a very tight offside. And then Chelsea ran amok, and it was 5-1 to Chelsea. And similar at Wolves, I think they were winning 2-1 at one point. I didn't watch the game, but once people score against their heads drop. I've gone Forest 3, West Ham 1.
Yeah, I can see why you have, Ferg, to be honest. You come up with some really interesting points there, Ferg, right? And firstly, I've not got any problem with a player going and speaking to the fans. I know a lot of levels don't like it, but I think it shows that player is really engaged with the club and he wants the best for the club. So I've not got too many worries about that. I worry more about West Ham. Firstly, because what you said, they're not very good. Chelsea absolutely overrun them on their own patch, right? And I didn't think Chelsea had to play that well. And most importantly for me, and I've said it a lot, right, and I'll say it again, and West Ham fans do have much genuine sympathy for this. That stadium does not help West Ham win matches. I mean, the atmosphere is awful at the best of times. The fans, they try their best, but they're nowhere near the pitch. They're losing heart rapidly, so they're leaving the ground early. And when you've got that kind of atmosphere and that kind of support at home, it's got to be hard to win games, hasn't it, Alex?
Yeah. I mean, they're in a struggle right now. And it seems like they're clutching a bit at straws. I just saw they bought in a midfielder from Southampton for, I think it was £42 million, it seems way above his value. I think they went in earlier to try and get him for around £30 million. And even then I thought that was a bit expensive. And now they've managed to land him for 42, Mateus Fernandes. I mean, I just don't see West Ham going there and getting anything. I think Forest, they've started well. I think internally there's a bit of worry with the manager. Is he going to stay? Because he's not the best of friends with Mr. Marinakis, is he?
He's got an issue with Edu, hasn't he?
I don't know. I don't know about that, but just I mean, on the pitch they've delivered and they've done well, and they've managed to get a couple of good signings now. I can see them just going out there and cruising, scoring early, and then I think, as Ferg said, scoring early will mean West Ham's heads will drop. So that's sort of my thinking behind my 3-0 win for Forest.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just wondering, right, has Nuno played an absolute blinder? Because maybe, by their own admittance, they've not got the players in they wanted. So by doing what he's doing, as he nicely moved the pressure and the focus off his players, took it on himself and letting them play their game. I don't know. I'm clutching at straws, maybe. But look, I'm with you, boys. I've gone for a Forest win, a comfortable Forest win. I think they'll get 2 or 3 goals against West Ham. I've no ill feelings against West Ham. As I said, I'll repeat it. I feel genuinely sorry for their fans who are suffering that horrible stadium every week. But I don't think they're good enough to get anything at Forest. Right, we've got one more game to do before we go on to Liverpool, Arsenal, right? But just before we do, I've got to say that we've got nearly 300 viewers out there live now. As every week I say, I'm truly humbled. Thank you for watching us. It is appreciated. We don't make any money here. We get a few quid in, but that goes to pay the bills for coming out live to you guys. We just love to chat, as you probably know. Oh, Ferg and me love to chat, right? Love to chat about the Arsenal. The only difference is that I talk sense and Ferg talks rubbish, but we do both chat about the Arsenal, right? So thank you for watching. If you could go across at your convenience, not now, but if you could go across to YouTube and give us a little bit of a like or a subscription or a follow, just helps us. The more subscribers you get, the more YouTube opens up avenues for you to improve what you do, and we want to improve what we do, So thank you for watching, and if you can do the like button, amazing. Thank you, much appreciated. Ferg, you got anything else left to say on West Ham Forest before we move on, mate?
No, it's just like if there weren't England and Union Jack flags all around here, there'd be black flags hanging on the lampposts for the West Ham fans are feeling that low in and around Essex.
Yeah, it's but we'll see. Maybe they'll pick it up. Maybe they'll pick it up. But I've my doubts about the manager as well. But we've spoken enough about that, right? Let's talk about the last one before the mighty Arsenal, Villa v Palace, right? Villa v Palace. Palace last week. What did Palace do last week? They drew at home with Forest. I thought Palace would win that. I really did. And Villa got beaten at Brentford, and I had Villa to win something there. So, as is usual, I was totally wrong with both of my predictions for both Villa and Palace. I've got a sneaky feeling Palace might get something out of this game. What do you reckon, Alex?
I can see that as well. I mean, it's a tough game to predict because Villa haven't scored in the first two games. Offensively, they haven't created anything. They've been horrible. And I think Palace could go to Villa sort of being happy with the point and sort of seeing if they can do anything on the counter. So I've gone for a draw, but I could easily see Palace nicking a win on a counter. I mean, we'll have to see how they do without Esse now. He's been a focal point in their attack. And he's gone now, and they've brought in a new attacker from Villarreal. He'll have to settle in, and he could be a good replacement. Obviously, won't replace the qualities that Esse had, 100%. But I mean, we'll have to see. Palace they struggled midweek against Fredrikstad. I think they went through. Was it 1-0 with 1 goal win?
Yeah. They drew over there. Yeah, they drew away and got a 1-0
Yeah, exactly.
win.
So, I mean, we'll have to see if they're still the same team and they can create the same amount of chances without Esse.
Yeah. Okay, so you've gone for the draw. Ferg, I'll go next, mate, because it sets you up nicely, mate. I think that Palace are going to nick a win by the odd goal in free at Villa. I think Palace will be good enough. I really do. I just think they're flying at the moment. Nice to see a comment about Palace's fans in the comments because I think Palace's fans have been absolutely superb the way they've handled Eze's transfer to the Arsenal. I'm full of admiration for them, full of respect for them. So Alex has gone for the draw. I've gone for Palace to win by the odd goal in free. Ferg, are you going against both of us or joining us or what, mate?
I'm going with Simon Leicester. I'm going for a home win only because I think that Villa have got to come good. They're a decent outfit. Unai Emery, as we know, is a decent manager. He's taken them a long way in Europe and in the league, and he's improved them immensely since the days of Stevie G and Steven Gerrard. Picking up the pieces from him must have been like, I don't know, picking up your teeth every now and then, Trevor. When you drop them on the floor and put them back in. That's like,
I've got better glue now, Ferg. I've got better.
You got better glue. Villa have only scored 1 goal this season. In their opening game was a 0-0 bore draw against Newcastle, a game I expected to be really interesting and really exciting. But I'll put that down probably to the 12:30 kickoff. They're looking to extend. They've got a long, unbeaten run at home, Villa. And Hines, sorry, should I say his surname? Martinez, for everybody who's looking for a long time. Martinez. It returns in goal after a suspension. And whilst he is arrogant, he's a decent keeper. And listen, again, somebody came along and said it was a hard one to call. It is a hard one to call because Palace have done very, very well, but they've got a lot of turmoil going on with the loss of Eze, probably Gehi as well. I've gone for 3-1 for Villa, even without Konsa.
So that's we've all gone different directions there. And Alex has sat on the fence. I've gone for an away win. Ferg's gone for a home win. While we mentioned Simon Leicester, I know at the moment that Simon's not very well at the moment. I know he's going to get better soon. But if you're struggling, Simon, you want a bit of a help, Ferg said he'll come around and kiss you better, mate. I was going to offer, but Ferg got him first. So
well done, Ferg.
Ferg, yeah.
Just make sure you got some whiskey there, Simon. That's all.
Right, so Villa Palace. I'm looking forward to watching that game. I really am looking forward to watching Villa v Palace. But boys, last game, always save the best till last. That's what we always do, isn't it? You know,
The big one.
the big one. Liverpool at home to Arsenal. It really is the big game. It's our second away game and our second trip to the Northwest in 2 weeks. I'm quite happy we've got these two trips out of the way early in the season. I genuinely am. I'm not keen on going to Liverpool. We have to hold our hands up. As much as Liverpool fans have been on our backs for some reason recently, they seem to be jumping on us for anything we do. Looking at what Liverpool play on the field, Liverpool are playing quality football, right? They really are playing quality football. But boys, I go to Anfield. I'm going up tomorrow, actually, but I will be at Anfield on Sunday with some amount of confidence that we can come away from that game with a win. I really do. I'm going to expand on that in a minute. I know you boys will expand on it with me. I'm going to go to Ferg first here. Liverpool v Arsenal. It excites me. You know, I don't want to go there. I'm not bothered, but it excites me going to watch this game, Ferg. How do you feel about it, mate?
Nervous. Everybody should feel a little bit nervous. Both teams are putting a 100% record on the line. Both are title contenders. Liverpool rightly won the league last season because due to injuries and circumstances, we just weren't good enough to challenge long enough. And I know the points difference was something like 8 points at the end of the season. But in reality, the league was done probably 2 months, 3 months before the end of the season, probably February, April sort of time, because, you know, injuries and the points difference and so on. But Liverpool haven't, what I've seen recently, Liverpool haven't looked as good as they looked last season. I think Konate, the centre half alongside Van Dijk, has been a shadow of himself, because I saw him playing in person when we played Liverpool at the Emirates, and I thought, wow, this guy is huge. He slowed up a lot more, I think. You know, we haven't beaten them since a 2-0 win in 2012 at Anfield. And that was Lucas Podolski and Santi Cazorla scored. So that's 13 years ago. I said on Twitter, 13 is my lucky number. So, and if you then go 13 years past that, you're looking at 1989, aren't you? No, maybe not. Forget that one. But 13 years. Yeah, that was more than 13 years. Don't worry. I'm in finance, remember. I've gone a really tight game. I was going to go 3, but I'm going to go 2-1 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Ferg. I'm really glad you said that. Alex, right? And Ferg's exactly right. We've not won there often, but over the last 2 or 3
Hang on. Back in your box.
Oh, Ronnie.
Boy.
Come on. Ronnie, you're going to be on a red card, son. You're welcome here. We love anybody watching this show, right? We genuinely do. But if you go against the mighty Arsenal, you could well be on a red card if you're shortly done.
Yeah, this isn't a friendly place.
That's thrown me completely, right? That's thrown me completely. Alex, as I was saying, right, we haven't got the greatest winning record there, but the last 2 or 3 years, we haven't lost there, have we? Right? And last season, I was so pleased last season, because put me right here, lads, because I'm taking this out of my head. We went 2-0 down, didn't we, last season?
Yes, we did.
Right. And we came out in the second half and showed the biggest pair of balls I've seen a football team have in a long time. Because to go to the champions and go 2-0 down and still have the fight in you to come back and draw the game, that was a very special day for me. It was a very special day for me.
And then Marino got sent off.
Yeah.
Just about where we were pushing on for the third.
Alex, right, listen, generalise for a minute or so. Tell me what you think about the game. Then I want to go slightly on a different route, boys, with what we think the team's going to be. But Alex, generalise first. What's going to happen, mate?
I can see it being quite a tight game when none of the teams really want to give too much away. However, I think, having watched both of Liverpool's first games, I think they will give chances away. Konate hasn't looked like up to his standards last season, and then obviously they've had a new fullback come in, Fergus, I think he's looked a bit shaky as well. The new right back Frimpong is out injured, which means Connor Bradley will probably play, but he's been injured and it will be his first game starting this season. So I think there's opportunities down the flanks for us. We just have to take our chances. It's simple because we'll get them. I'm very confident.
I'm glad you've said that. I'm really glad you've said it. Now, I just want to do some comparisons, right, boys? I'll come to you first, Ferg. When I look at our defence, right, I think that we'll have Rao in goal, and I think hopefully we'll go with the same Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, Calafiori, right? I'm happy with that. Although I can think of 4 or 5 other players that could come into that defence for me. And when I look at our defence, Ferg, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, Calafiori, and I look at Liverpool up front, Ferg, I'd favour our defence to keep a clean sheet or not let many in, wouldn't you?
I think with Saliba and Gabriel being fit for sure, I favour them. I think Zubamendi dropping into the middle as well to back up for the back three to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that. I'd like Ben White to start if he's fit enough, but I'm equally okay with Timber on that right hand side. But if we're having Yorkes starting, which you'd expect, I want to see Calafiori because I think Calafiori will bomb forward and give the supply to Yorkes.
Right. Ferg, don't expand too much at the moment. I'm
just doing you. Like, normally what we do is we start a podcast, we've got a full agenda, and you go through the whole game in the first 5 minutes. So I just thought we'd see what it's like on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, there's a married couple again.
There's a difference. Yeah. I talk out of my mouth. You talk out the other end most of the time.
I'm sitting on that.
No, but you'll see why in a minute, mate. Go on.
I'm comfortable with our defence. Ekatike, way got it right. I think is a threat. Salah is a threat, but I think Saliba and Gabriel can cope with them easily.
Right, excellent. Alex, exactly the same. Our back four, I just look at it and I think our back four are that good. Liverpool will struggle. Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I've written down a classic old 1-0 to the Arsenal. So I'll back us getting a clean sheet. I think we'll go up there and be solid. And hopefully we can nick it off a set piece. Or I mean, I don't care how we score, but I back us to get a clean sheet against their attack.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I agree with that to a certain extent. But now I want to move on to the midfield, because this is where I start getting really excited, right? Rice and Zubimendi, I can't think of 2 better midfielders in the league, right? I can't. I know I'm biased, right? Ronnie might come back and have a word here. I don't know, but Rice and Zubimendi. Now, Odegaard.
He'll talk about that new signing, Eze. Oh, no, he didn't go there, did he?
It's true. We'll come to Eze. Rice and Zubimendi, I'm so excited about them 2 playing together. Odegaard can't play, right? We think Odegaard's out. So what I call the midfield 3, which would have been Rice, Zubimendi and Odegaard, I'd like to see Rice, Zubimendi, and I'd like to see Nwaneri starting there, me. I think that 3 together would excite me greatly when I think about who Liverpool might have against them in the middle of the park. Ferg?
So by saying you want Nwaneri starting in that number 10 or 8, right 8 position, the Odegaard position, that then opens up who do you want to play on the left wing side of things. So I would say you were thinking put Eze there and Madueke in replacing Saka. If
you're guessing too far ahead.
No, I'm not guessing too far ahead, because by the formation that you said there, by having Nwaneri in that position, that defaults that Odegaard's not playing. So if Odegaard's not playing and you want Nwaneri in that position, you don't have Eze in the Odegaard position, which would be an option. So that means you have to push Eze out left, and Madueke would automatically cover for Saka. So I agree with Rice and Zubimendi for sure. The whole debate is about that 4.
Yeah,
and Gyökeres as well.
Exactly. And we will come to that right now, Ferg, after Alex has had his say about who he would like to see in that midfield 3.
I think, first of all, Odegaard isn't definitely out, so he might play. But like you guys, I want Subimendi and Rice playing in that midfield. And then the last spot, I mean, if Odegaard is out, Wanyeri was the one that came on against Leeds, and I thought he did very well. Do we just throw in SA, just throw him in and give him a baptism of fire? We could. It depends on how Arteta's seen him. He's seen him in training, so he'll know if he's ready.
Yeah,
I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah. So that's where I was fishing. I mean, it could be Nwaneri, but when you talk now I'll come to the front three, right? For me, the front three would be Eze, Martinelli, and Victor. I'm not even going to try and say it right, because I'd love to see Eze and Nwaneri alternating in that role, wide inside, wide inside, wide inside. I really genuinely would, right? I think the Martinelli's history against Liverpool is really good, and I think if he's been dropped 1 week, the following week he comes back and he plays really well, Martinelli. And then Victor's got to be on the top of his form after last week, right? He's going to be buzzing. The boy has got to be buzzing. And when I look at Liverpool's defence, right, they've won their games, right, but they let 2 in against Newcastle, right? And Newcastle only had 10 men for 1 or maybe 2 of them. And they let 2 in when they played. Who did they play in the first game? Right? They let 2 in against Bournemouth. And Bournemouth were right in that game, right until the very end. I think that we can put a front three out there that are really going to tear into Liverpool, and Liverpool will be worried about that. And I'm excited by what we're going to do up front against their back 3 or 4, Ferg. What do you reckon, mate?
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
I am. The only reason there's a party starting in one of the gardens further down, and they're making a lot of noise, so I want to mute just for your sake. So apologies for that. I think, there's a lot of people have a lot of points there to say about Eze being Premier League ready, which he is. We know he is, and he plays very well at Anfield. But likewise, even Dan mentions that Martinelli has always is really good against Liverpool. He puts them on their skates. But wasn't that against Trent? Was that against Trent, Alex? So they've got a different right back now,
well against Trent. Yeah, it's probably going to be Conor Bradley. But I mean, he has done well against Liverpool.
Yeah. But... to be honest, you know what? I really can't call what way the lineup should be. I'm happy with nearly any formation. And you just have to think about when we saw Saka get injured last week and we saw Odegaard go down, which I think will be a late fitness test, and he may appear for some or all of the game on Sunday. But when we saw them go down, if this was this time last season, playing Liverpool away at Anfield, we would have been pulling our hair out.
It's crazy. It's actually crazy to think of.
And we're so much more comfortable with the depth that we've added to the squad, and also the cover that we've got for the various positions, and every player in that attacking side can almost swap and interchange. It's genius.
Ferg, you've led it on to me beautifully. People watching, I'm going to have to hurry up because we've now gone about an hour and 8 minutes into this, and Ferg's nagging me in the background to get.
I'm not. You just said you want to finish in an hour. It's your wife's birthday.
The reason I wanted to speak about a team like that, right? The reason I wanted to speak about a team, I'm listening to you, Ferg, but I'm ignoring you.
Yeah, I know.
The reason I wanted to talk about a team like that is because, as you just rightly drifted onto, Ferg, we now look at what we've got. Right, we've got Trossard, who I trust. Comes on and scores a goal, no problem. Mosquera, who came on last week and looked totally at home in defence. Lewis Skelly, one of the greatest players, best young players in the world, in my view. Ariza Balaga, a very capable goalkeeper who's coming off a great season with Bournemouth. Marino, who stepped up last season and played out of position for most of the season and did absolutely wonderfully. Dowman, I want to see Dowman on the field. I'm going to dwell on Dowman for a few seconds. I spoke about it on that short that Fergus put out this week. Dowman, during the game last week, I just wanted Dowman to get the ball. Whenever we had the ball, I'm thinking, get it to Dowman, because he was absolutely magical. And I'd love to see him come on against Liverpool for 20, 25 minutes, because I think he's going to run any defender ragged. So talk about Darman for a second, Ferg. Do you agree with me or what?
He's just he's a star, but I don't want to put the pressure on him too much. I was shocked to see that he's nearly 2 years younger than my my grandson, and he looks like a grown man on the pitch, and his capabilities on the pitch looked really good. I would be feathering him into the game like Arteta did, bringing him on when we're comfortable 3, 4, 5-0 up, bringing him on and creating havoc, because that's what he did. He created absolute havoc. Nobody knew what to do with him. It was almost a case, and it wasn't this case, because I don't think footballers are that stupid, but it was almost a case of the Leeds players went, oh, we can't go in on him. He's only a young lad. We can't go in that hard. And he put them on their arse. And he made everybody spin and run. Trev, there's a couple of comments that were made that I want to discuss with you. There was one that was made earlier, which I starred by Charles Kirian, if you have a look at that one. And there's another one then that was put up by Heath. One about the supply to Salah from Van Dijk, how the defence going to deal with that. And the other one about Odegaard. Do you want to pick up on those ones?
Just give me 10 more seconds to
finish
the rest of our squad, folks. Because what's his name? The big defender. What's his name?
Van Dijk.
You what?
Van Dijk.
Is it Van Dijk? I've
gone Van Dijk. Virgil Van Dijk.
I've gone right off him. But anyway, we dwelled on Dalman there, rightfully, because if he plays or if he don't, it's not putting pressure on him. It's just being excited, right? So excited. And then you've got Zinchenko, who can come on, although it looks like he might be leaving. He's still in the club, still around the squad, still won't let you down. And then you've talked about all those that can come on, world-class players. And then you've got your maybes. You've got Norgard, who's yet to show his face because he's carrying a little niggle. You've got Ben White, who's one of the best fullbacks in the country, in Europe probably. And then you've got Odegaard, right? Odegaard, who might well play instead of Nwaneri. I'm excited. You got Havertz and Gabriel that we mentioned that are injured, but are fantastic players, and they're still talking about us getting more in. It's a great time to be, an exciting time to be an Arsenal fan. Going up to Liverpool, I cannot wait. Right, go to them questions before we close, my friend.
So, we need to close because people have things to do on a Friday night. So the first one was, thank God it's Friday from Charles. How's Arteta going to counter the one-touch pings to Salah from Van Dijk? Alisson is now the main outlet. Trent is gone, and Canute roaming around in the middle of the box as well.
Canute, couple of years since he played, isn't it?
Yeah, I think isn't he meaning who's the
Canate?
Canate, yeah. Go on.
The only thing I'll say about that, I'm not worried about any of that statement. The only thing I'm worried about is Virgil van Dijk starting to injure people. We're watching him play, and he's starting to get a real dirty player.
Nasty fella.
His elbows and his shoulders, and he's doing it behind people's backs, right? And that's lowest of the low, right? So I'm not worried about any of that. I think that if they play the long ball, our defence have got enough about them to pick that up all day long. I think now midfield will pressure that long ball anyway because we'll press high, and I don't think Van Dijk's very good anymore. He's relying on dirty tactics, and I don't like that, Ferg. I don't like it.
Alex, the other one is Heath said we looked much open and much more. A lot of people said this on Twitter and social media when Odegaard went off, that we looked like a bit more open, a bit more free flowing. Do you agree with that? I'm not 100% in agreement with that.
Not in that specific game against Leeds. I think when Odegaard went off, we'd just scored or we'd just made 1-0. So, I mean, when Odegaard was on the pitch, it was 0-0, sort of still trying to break through Leeds. When he came off, we'd scored. And then when it's 1-0, 2-0, the game opens up. So I don't think you can take too much out of that game and the context.
Right. So to pull it all together, I agree with you, boys. I worry about nothing that Liverpool can throw at us. I worry a bit about the dirty tactics from one of their players. Other than that, I'm pretty confident we're going to go there and come away with the win. Ferg, I'm going to shut up, mate. And do you know what, Ferg? I'm going to let you do your job and press the button, mate. Thank you, everyone. We'll be back in a second.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll be back in a second, but first of all, classic Football Clocks has wished Donna, Mrs. Hilsey, happy birthday. So I thought that had to go up there as well for you. And you can't see it, but I've got one of his classic clocks. I think you've got one as well, Trev.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so really nice. So check him out on X. Yeah, I'm going to press that button. 1 second, hide that comment. Press that. Give me more of a warning. A bit more of a warning.
I was just singing along, everybody. Right, Ferg, listen, I just see that Dan's mentioned Europe. We're going to talk. We will be back on Monday. Ferg is off next week on holiday with his beautiful wife on a well-deserved holiday. So, but we will do something on Monday. I'm hoping that one or two others will be able to join me. I'm sure they will.
could come back.
And we will talk about Europe on Monday, because by that time we'll know where we're going. We'll know what the dates are. And we'll have all booked our flights by then to the various places around Europe. So we'll cover Europe on Monday. We'll cover the Arsenal-Liverpool game on Monday. Please, please, let us all be in celebratory mood. And lastly, before Ferg shuts us down, thank you, Alex, but thank you, Ferg, and have a wonderful week off next week, mate.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, mate. Listen, we've mentioned it every time. We done Andy's Man Club special at the start of the season. We will be doing something again. Not next week, the week after. But, you know, us guys, we all need to talk. It's good to talk. On that subject, Dan, I'm not here Monday. It's good to talk. Talk to Trevor. Get on the podcast. Fill my space.
Exactly.
You're in the chat all the time. Right.
Thank you, everyone.
You have been watching Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. If you like what we do, please click over to YouTube and like and subscribe to our channel. We're nearly 1,400 subscribers on there. We've got 290 people watching live right now. Some of you just go over there. We'd love it. It just helps us. As Trev said, we don't make any money out of this. We just try and mitigate some of the costs. Up the Arsenal. Fox Spurs. Not sorry, Ronnie.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.